Welcome to It's Chrissy Rice, the podcast where no topic is off limits. From wellness and spirituality to relationships, real life, healing, intuition, and all of the beautifully messy moments in between. I'll bring you honest conversations with heart, humor, and curiosity. Whether I'm sharing personal experiences or interviewing inspiring guests, I'll be diving into questions that we're all secretly asking, and you'll find authenticity, insight, and connection here. Pull up a chair, grab your favorite drink, and join the conversation, because nothing is too taboo when it's time to talk. Welcome to episode 7 of the Intuitive Agent podcast. Today, I'm going to do a 3-part series. So this is going to be episode 7, and then episode 8 and 9 are going to also be linked to this episode. I want to talk a lot about numerology, house numerology. Now, if you are a real estate agent, this is going to help you. If you are not a real estate agent, you're still going to love it because everyone has a number attached to their house. Okay. So before I get started on this, I want to kind of tell you about what house numerology is and how to distinguish your own house numerology number first. So house numerology is it's almost the same cycles as years. So years also have numbers tied to them. So it's numbers through 1 through 9. That's the pattern of numbers, okay? And how you come to that, each number holds a vibration. Each number's vibration is going to portray how that house looks, who that house is going to be attracted to, who is going to be attracted to that number, depending on your personality, your phase of life, your energy at the time. And this will make more sense as I get into the numbers of each house. So the way to calculate your house numerology is you add up all the numbers of your house and bring them down to a single number. And if you have apartments attached to that, you would add those numbers into the main number for the building as well. And you're going to add them all up and you're going to bring them down to a single digit. If you have letters in your house number, you're going to write the alphabet out as a number. So A would be 1, B would be 2, C would be 3, and so on and so forth. And you would link your letter to a number. You would add that number into the rest of the numbers that are linked to your house. So for instance, if you live at the number 100, your house number is a 1. If you live at the house number 226, your house number would be 6 plus 2 plus 2. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, your house would be a 1. If you live at house number 222, your house would be 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. You would live in a 6 house. So I kind of slightly, as you can see, I'm a little obsessed with house numerology. I find it's such a good guide for you on when you're choosing a house, what house is going to be the best for you. If you've lived in a bunch of houses in your life, and you can even do this like thinking of your house numerology from when you were a child versus when you were in your 20s and you've moved a lot, like think about those. If you add those numbers up and you listen to this podcast and you learn about each number of those houses, what your life was like living in those houses, why you chose that house at that given moment in time, because every single house has a vibration and those numbers have vibrations. So I have lived in a house number 1, 2, 6, 8, and 9. I moved a lot. So I have experienced a lot of the numerology house numbers. I also have... Now, house numbers are really good for our growth, right? Depending on what we're going through in life. I do have some sort of, I don't want to say superstitions, but when I house hunt, it drives my husband crazy because I'll say, no, I can't live there. It's an 8. I don't want to live in that house. I can't do that energy. There's just something that runs through my blood that I can't live in an 8 house, okay? You'll find out why on episode, what number is 7, 8, 9? On episode 9, you'll find out in episode 9 why I don't love living in an 8 house. And for those of you who live in an 8 house, those houses probably elevate your energy and they're helping your growth. And you might like thrive in situations where you live in an 8 house. So you might listen to this podcast episode and be like, well, I'm not living in a 2-house. I'm probably never going to live in a 3-house. And you'll have different houses where you'll really be attracted to them. I would have to say that I don't have a favorite. One house I have not lived in yet is a house number 7. And I do want to live in a house number 7 at one point in my life, but hasn't happened yet. So I don't have a favorite. Every single house that I've lived in has elegantly elevated and shifted and helped me grow and has been such a significant part of my life that I don't regret living in any of the numbers at all. I just think that they offer such valuable energy to those who live in it. So with that being said, now that you have probably figured out what your house number is, in this episode, I'm going to talk about houses 1, 2, and 3. Next episode, in episode 8, I will talk about 4, 5, and 6. And in episode 9, I will talk about 7, 8, and 9 houses. So if you want to skip around to those episodes so you can learn about your house number or different house numbers you've lived in, you can also look at those episodes or listen to those episodes as well. So let's get started. House number 1. We are also in a year number 1 in 2026 as I record this episode. And 1 is it's like the reset number. It's number 1. You've gone through that 9 cycle already. And so 1 is like this cleansing number. So 1 houses tend to, and this is good for real estate agents because as you get to know your clients and you're calculating what houses you're going to, like, say you have a list of houses that you're going to go see today. There's like 4 houses. At the top of each paper that you're carrying around for the day, you can write, okay, this is a 6 house, this is a 5 house, this is a 9 house. And you can already tell what house is probably going to be the best for the buyer. And maybe you can take an educated guess on what house you think is going to be best for them. And that might be the house that they fall in love with most because that's going to align to their energy. So it's like a fun little game that you can play while you're showing houses. So house number 1 is very attracted to new couples starting out, new couples ending a life cycle. So retirees, empty nesters. It's also very attracted to single people. So single people that are not together with somebody and maybe meet somebody inside of that house. That is one big thing 1 houses are very attracted to. 1 person and the number 1. Entrepreneurs are also very, very attracted to house number 1s. I have lived in a house number 1. It was very aligned with that energy. My husband and I are both self-employed, so entrepreneurs. And also it was our very first house that we ever bought was a house number 1. So we were a new couple starting out on a new adventure in a new state. So it was all very fitting and very aligned with house number 1. House number 1s, they have this like major reset energy. So it's like, that's when I said like the new start, the empty nesters, the retirees, they're very attracted to house number 1s. House number 1's decor is very minimalistic. So not so much in not a lot of stuff in the house, but they're not cluttered. So house number 1s don't like clutter. They don't like a lot of things in them. So that's and when I'm saying this about the decor of the homes, that is how you should be kind of energetically attracted to decorating the house. The house is going to speak to you and it's going to kind of show you how it wants to be decorated when you're in it. But if you don't really have an idea of how to energetically let a house flow, listening to this or diving into your house numerology and you're like, you know what? My house always does feel like misaligned. I haven't decorated it correctly. Like you weren't listening to its energy. If that makes sense. House number 1's also like, it's just like intentional spaces. Like every space in the house number 1 has a purpose. And it likes clean lines. It loves like neutral colors, whites, beiges, tans. It just likes very simple things. When we moved into our house number 1, our very first house, it was painted canary yellow, like big bird yellow, forest green, and navy blue. It was the most off-putting feeling. All those colors were like in the same room. And I really hated it. So everything and I didn't know anything about numerology at that time. Everything in my soul wanted to paint the entire house beige. That is exactly what I did. We got to work on painting that house. It took us forever. Every single inch of that house turned beige. And everything about that house just felt aligned after it was turned beige. It was just very clean, calm, and subtle. House number 1s have this energy of like new chapter energy and like forward moving and like very activating. Like, here I am. I left all of that behind me and I'm ready to start something new and fresh. And it really does focus on like self-definition and discipline in that house. And you have to balance a one house because it can feel a little isolating. So you want to balance it with like a lot of softness. So making sure that your items and your decor in your home are very soft feeling, not heavy or rigid or sharp. And house number 1 energy, it just like, it pushes you towards like self-reliance and like personal authority and just very stepping into your power. Like, I just completed a cycle and I'm ready to step into this new cycle. It feels like such a rejuvenating energy. And you might not, I don't typically see a lot of people stay in a house number 1 forever. Unless they're in that cycle of life more towards like, okay, here's two different outcomes. If they're a couple that stay a couple forever and they don't really plan on developing a family, like they don't want children, I tend to see those people in a house number 1 for a while. The other way I see it is couples that are retiring or they're empty nesters and it's just going to be them from there on out. I typically see them stay in a house number 1 for a lot longer. But typically it's a house that people transition in. So it's not something that's long-term usually. And that brings us to house number 2. Love me a house number 2. I lived in a house number 2 after I lived in house number 1, which is very strange and consecutive, but it was such a good transition from going from a 1 to a 2 because we ended up having our daughter in our house number 1, but very quickly after that, transitioning to a house number 2, which really does work out and plays out with that numerology because house number 2s, they're very soft and relatable and they feel like a giant exhale. And this is where like emotional energy is definitely amplified in a house number 2. This is where families expand. So house number 2 is like the family number almost. It's about partnerships. It's about duality. It's a very sensitive and like empathetic house. And I also feel that people are very attracted to 2 houses. Now, not in a sense that it's just the owner who's attracted to it. Of course, they're attracted to it, but people in general. So this will be a house of fun and parties and get-togethers and holidays and celebrations. This is the house that we did the most of that in. It was just the place that everybody came for every holiday. Our door was always open. It was just this great hangout place. And it typically attracted other families. So we started our family in our 1 house. We grew our family in our 2 house. And that really aligns with a 2 house. So the people living in this house or the ones that are going to be attracted to these kinds of houses, 2 houses, are people focused on like healing and connection and emotional repair. So the people that, even though this house loves to like value like comfort and peace and privacy. You do get your privacy in a two house, but it's also very like, it's like a sharing house. It's like I said, like where the connections are going to be made, where the holidays are going to happen, where people are going to feel comfortable. Like two houses are just like, come on in, take your shoes off, put your feet up, enjoy a movie with us. So two houses love like warm lighting. You're going to see two houses warmly lit. You're going to see two houses with some also earth tones, but maybe a little bit more darker earth tones in a two house. They do like two houses like neutral pastels and earth tones. Also, two houses are really good for displaying personal items and like sentimental objects. So if you live in a two house or you're going to a two house, or you're an agent and you see a lot of houses and you're like, wow, this is probably a two house. It's where people are going to display a lot of personal items in the house. They might not be the houses that they take pictures, like personal photos down for when they're selling. And the house is it's just very calming and nurturing. Like I said, a lot of families love this house. And it feels like a two house feels like a pause from like the outside world. Like when you're inside of a two house, like nothing matters. Everything you need is right within that house. And it just like reflects like a lot of rest and relaxation. This house is like, if this house could talk, it would say like, you're safe here. Feel everything. That's pretty much what a two house would say. And two houses are just like, that was like our most fun and community connective house that we ever lived in. Would I do it again? Yes. Do I see myself living in a two house again? Probably not. I just don't know, like in different phases of my life, like maybe when I have a bunch of grandkids and I'm in the neighborhood and I'm like, all the grandkids are getting together and the neighborhood kids get together with the grandkids and I have a pool in the backyard, everybody's over pool partying. That's when I see myself living in a two house again. But like you'll go through different phases of life where you just don't really see yourself in certain numbers again. Cause you're like, I don't know. I think I did that phase already. Do I see myself living in a one house again? Yes, probably as an empty nester. I probably do. And again, I loved a two house. I loved a one house. So that brings me to a number 3 house. And there are so many more aspects of this energy in these houses that I'm not mentioning in this podcast. You can dive deeper into it if you'd like, but I kind of like to give like this broad idea for each number because that's the way I think about it. And then when I'm in the home, I let the home talk to me and it'll tell me like what it likes, what it doesn't like, what colors it likes, what decor it likes. And if you change a color of a house or you start to decorate it in a certain way and it just feels weird, like you're like, this just doesn't go in this house, there's a reason. Because it's a different number. And that object or that color, that paint scheme, it went to a different energy. And so you kind of have to recalibrate yourself to these new energies when you move. So that brings me to house number 3, which I have not lived in. I have not lived in a house number 3. I've been in a lot of house number 3s. My dad lives in a house number 3, but I have not lived in one. It's not even on my list of places to actually like to live, but maybe I should. 7 is number 1 for me. I would say if I wanted to live in a different house, maybe 3 would be like number 2. So that's on my list of number 2. So 3 houses they're very social. They're ever changing. And this is where like energy moves, evolves, and it gets rearranged often. So rearrangement here, whether it's decor, paint, looks, it rearranges itself a lot here. So people who live here are usually very creative people, social people. They have outgoing personalities, sorry. They're sort of people in like experimental phases of life. Like, let's see how this works. Like, do I like this? Do I not like this? Sometimes 3 houses like suck people in for like 35 years. And then sometimes 3 houses are like, nah, I didn't really love it. I think I'm going to move on. That was fun. So it's sort of like an experiment, you know? 3s can also include blended households. So it could have like mom living there, grandma living there, great grandma living there, aunts, uncles, cousins. They're typically blended households. And the decor of a 3 house, very kind of like bright colors. The decor evolves. So it goes from like what was in to kind of being outdated to we need to change it to get what's in again. So it goes through those stages of it's, for instance, remember when ivy was in and you like stenciled ivy all over your walls and then you did like sponge painting? That was like really cool to have that on your house walls. A 3 house would have that. But then it would kind of like linger for like too many years. And then we were in the phase of like neutrals. And now we're in the phase of like, we went through that phase of shiplap, right? And like that house would be like transition into all the cool phases. And then it would go back to like whatever the new phase is, which is like completely neutral and like clean lines. So it does change with the evolution of style. And 3 houses love like creative stations in the house. Like I have a music corner. Here's my plant corner. Here's the dog's corner. Like everybody kind of has, this is the computer room corner. Everyone has like a space in that house. That house has like its own little nooks for things. It does like DIY stuff, like DIY projects. Like I said, like the ivy on the walls, like stenciled on the walls, the sponge painting. So it does love when you do DIY projects in it. And sort of the energy that comes with a 3 house when you're in it, it feels kind of very social and stimulating, but it can, if you kind of get crazy with the DIY stuff, it can feel a little chaotic at times. So just making sure that you're tampering down on that energy and not doing too much in it so that people are like, there's a lot going on in here when you walk in. So it does have that rearranging energy too. Like, you might visit someone in a 3 house and like the following weekend, their living room doesn't look the same. They've completely changed it. They swapped everything out. Like living rooms in the dining rooms in the living room. That just has this rearranging like energy about it and feel about it. So you definitely have to keep a 3 house like organized and grounded because it can start to feel like not grounded and unfocused and sometimes messy. So the 3 energy is going to be this sort of like constant battle with it. Like, oh, that's looking a little crazy over there. Okay, I got to pick that up. So it's very flowy. 3 houses are very flowy. And you'll be in like some houses that don't feel like there's any flow at all. It feels like completely stagnant. That's not a 3 house. Not a 3 house at all. The 3 house is like, let's move, let's go, let's rearrange, let's do this. 3 houses do like bolder colors too. So if you're attracted to bolder colors while you're living in this house, that's very common for a 3 house. And just sort of like making a statement for who you are in that house. So again, I have not lived in a 3 house. I think it sounds fun. Like the energy of a 3 house. I love rearranging furniture and I love change. I love it less as I get older. I used to love it so much. It used to get me in trouble because I would rearrange things on the daily and no one knew where anything was. I don't do that so much. So I think there's a reason I didn't live in a 3 house because I think I would have gone above and beyond on the rearranging because I already have that quality. So yeah, that is a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3 house in numerology. Now, if you get to know your clients as a real estate agent and you understand they are empty nesters and they're just looking for that next space for this new adventure in their life of being by themselves and going on that journey, you might find that they start choosing a lot of 1 houses to go look at. And then as you get to know them, You're going to kind of figure out what they like, what their style's like, what their hobbies are, and things like that. So you're going to almost be able to pinpoint what house they're actually going to want to make an offer on. It's kind of cool once you start to get to know all of the numerology numbers and houses. Unfortunately, it is how I house shop. I will look at houses, and even if I absolutely fall in love with it and it checks all of my boxes, but I have one big problem with it, and that is the number of the house and the energy of the house, I will probably pass on it. Sounds crazy, but energy is everything to me. And I have lived in 5 of those 9 numbers, so I understand what life feels like in them. So I will try to find a number that resonates best with me and doesn't give me that, I don't know if I'm ready for that energy yet kind of feeling. So yeah, it's crazy, but I do it. Drives everyone nuts when I'm looking at houses, and I do that quite often. So I hope this podcast episode was very helpful to you. I find numerology very helpful in helping me be directed in a home on how to decorate it, on how to live in it, on what life lessons the home is actually going to teach me when I enter it. So if I know I'm going into a whole new house number, I get prepared for those life lessons that are going to come in that house. And I get excited for it because there aren't any other number houses out there that are going to prepare me for these life lessons like this house, this number. So it's very, very exciting. Houses, they take you on a journey. They hold so much energy, and they choose you. You don't choose them. Sounds weird, but it's actually true. The house will draw you in, and it will choose you, and it will want you in it because it will want you to experience what it has to offer you. So as you listen to this podcast episode, or episode 8 and 9 with your house number in it, start to ask yourself the question, have I decorated my house right? Is that the reason why I want to change the paint color? This all starting to make sense. Or if you're on that journey of house hunting and you're like, what number do I want to have next? Or experience next, really, because it's an experience. Living in houses are experiences. So what number would you choose to experience next in your life? Thank you very much for listening. And I hope you enjoy episodes 8 and 9 as well when they get launched. And hope you learned something about numerology.